What's up everybody, my name is Kai and today we're going to be preserving some citrus at the Dreamstead. Okay, so what we have here is a Sumo Mandarin orange. They are very delicious, one of my favorites, and they're only in season for a short period of time throughout the year. So we want to preserve some so that we can enjoy them for more than just this 3 to 4 month season that they are harvested. So we are going to be doing 2 different methods for preserving. We're going to be doing a water bath canning in some quart jars, and then we're also just going to freeze them. I'm not going to go over the freezing process in depth because it's super easy. You can keep them whole, you can peel them and separate them. Either way, you just put them into a freezer safe bag, remove as much air as possible, and then throw them in the freezer, and they're good for 6 months to a year. So yeah, what we will go over today is the water bath canning of some oranges. Okay, so first of all, the things that we're going to need for this is we are going to need some quart jars, and then we're going to need a pot that is large enough to completely submerge these quart jars in water. We aren't pressure canning them, but I am using a pressure canner because it is a large enough pot to hold 7 quart jars, and with enough room to completely cover these in the water for when we are processing these jarred up oranges. The only other thing that we're going to need is a large pot to make some simple syrup in, which we need sugar and water, and that's it. And then it's a good idea to have some canning tools. Pretty much the only thing that I'm going to be using is these jar grips here. So that is it. Let's get started. Okay, so here's what we've got. We have our pot at 180 degrees with all the jars in it, been marinating, heating everything up, right? We've got our oranges peeled. We've got our simple syrup. This is a very light sugar simple syrup. We have our lids, jar lids in the saucepan back here, heated up so that seal is nice and pliable, ready to go onto the jars. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the jars out of here, we'll lift them out, pour them into the sink, and then bring them over here. We'll stuff them with oranges, and then top the syrup on top, put the lid on, and then put it back into the water bath. That's it. Now we have our 7 jars in the canner here. We can take our thermometer out and we can crank our heat up. Now we want to bring this to a boil. We are here at near 6,000 feet elevation. So we want to bring this to a rolling boil for 15 minutes. If you were at or below 1,000 feet elevation, then you just do 10 minutes. But anywhere from 1,000 to 6,000 feet of elevation, we do 15 minutes. I am going to put the lid on, but I am not going to rotate it to where it drops down into position. This has this like drops down and then increases the pressure. You can lock it in. I'm just going to set it up on the edge here just to keep some of that heat in and bring it to a boil faster. We start our timer as soon as the water is at a rolling boil. Alright, we now have a rolling boil going on in this pot, so we are going to start our timer for 15 minutes and sit back and enjoy some oranges that are left over from the canning process. Perks. Okay, 15 minutes is now up. Because this isn't under pressure, we can shut this off and then we can just remove the lid to start the cooling process here of the jars. We don't want to remove them from the canner right away. We want to kind of let them acclimate to the cooler temperatures, so we're going to leave them in here for another 5 minutes. There it is, 5 minutes. Now we will pull these jars, just give them a little tilt back and forth, get some of the water off the lid, and then place them on a towel. And we'll just let them sit here for the rest of their cooling time. Just want to show you what you got here. A little bit of bubbling inside of the jar is fine. The water inside of the jars got up to boiling temperature, so the water inside should have been boiling when it was in the canner and running. Now that it's been a few minutes, that has pretty well ceased, but a little bit of residual bubbling in here is okay as they continue to cool off. And that's one of the reasons that we're going to let them sit here, is that it takes a long time for the water in here and the whole jar as a whole to cool down to a safe temperature. Also, all of our lids are still popped up. There is pressure inside of all of these jars right now, and probably here in the next few minutes even, the air inside, the water and the oranges will begin to cool, creating a constriction in that pressure on the inside, which is going to cause these lids, which are so hot that I can't even touch them right now, to pop in, and that is when the seal is created. Now, as you can see, we are in the storage room, where is the last stop for these Sumo Mandarin oranges before we consume them. So once they have completely cooled down, then we bring them down here, we place them on the shelf. You can completely remove this ring. The lid is being held on by the negative pressure created when you heat this up and then cool it back down again. I like to keep the ring on there as a safety net just in case, but what I do before putting them on the shelf is I come in here and I just give them about 1/8 of a turn, loosening, just so that they aren't putting that pressure on the lid. So the lid is being held on by that negative pressure, but the ring is just there as a precaution, a safety net. We also have some Sumos in the deep freeze that are in the process of cooling down right now, which is another great way to store them, but I prefer this. It doesn't take up any space in the freezer, which is an active form of storing food. This, once it's done, this is a passive way to store your food. So hopefully you found this video to be educational. Thank you for watching. Till next time, take care of yourselves, everybody. Make it a great day. Peace out.